What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the FN story. We have a returning guest, Unamused Bryson. What's going on, dude?
What's up, SBG?
Not much. We were just chatting. I feel like a little brain dead today, and yesterday's pod was a little brain dead as well. So hopefully, this coffee kind of reboots what's going on or the lack of what's going on up here. But what have you been up to recently?
I just moved like 15 hours from my hometown, so
Ooh.
within the last month. So kind of settling in still, uh, getting things together and exploring because I'm now in Colorado. So I've been doing a lot of mountain stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I've been seeing you post those like pictures you taking your dog and going with your buddies on nice hikes. That seems awesome. I'm actually so jealous.
Oh, dude, it's wild because we just did one last weekend and it was just 2 days, and we just packed that. We just backpacked it, so we packed everything in our backpacks, tent and everything, and 26 miles within 2 days, up 5,000 feet of elevation. It was intense, but it's crazy how many these like beautiful areas that are just you would never see them because they're not accessible in a day hike. You'd have to do like a 2 or 3 day hike.
Okay.
So like a ton of people never see them because they're like, oh, I'm not gonna take the time or money to acquire the gear to hike multiple days to go to this place. So, but it's like it's a real adventure. It's a real little journey. So it's cool.
Yeah, it does sound cool. Where was the one that you just went to? Like something
It
you would
was
recommend to people?
it was called Slate Lake. It was out in like the middle of the Rockies, Silverthorne area, so kind of towards where like a lot of the ski areas are, like Breckenridge and stuff.
Okay.
And you start it's a tough hike, especially when you have like 35, 40 pound bags on your back. But it's definitely worth it. It's absolutely beautiful.
Nice. I have not really done anything like that. The most I've done was climb Mount Mitchell, and I was ready to quit on the beginning of that and basically just said like actually it was my wife was like, dude, you can't quit. We are now all the way up top and now we have to get back down. So figure it out.
Do you know what the elevation was for Mount Mitchell?
I could look it up real quick, but I know it's the highest peak east of the Mississippi.
I'm assuming it's in the Appalachians, right?
Yes. It is 6,600 square, well, 6,700 square feet. Or not square feet, feet high.
Pretty high.
That's
Interesting. So I just did a like 2 weeks ago. I'm not trying to top you over here.
a one upper.
I did a 14er, so 14,000 something feet peak that I hiked, climbed to the top to pretty much. And that was wild. That was intense. Once you hit that like above 12,000 feet of elevation, the elevation really messes with your head, so you're like lightheaded half the time. But it's cool.
Yeah, I was in probably one of the worst shapes of my life at the time doing that. It was just like recently post grad, so
Yeah, I get
just
that.
started working, drinking beers and eating terrible food after work.
I
So
get that.
I was probably the heaviest, worst shape, and it was not fun. I could do it now. I feel like it would be a walk in the park, but yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I've been there before too. I've been there before too.
um. All right. Do you want to talk about video games, or we want to talk about hiking and?
I'd love to get into some of the Fortnite realm.
Okay. All right. Favorite Fortnite dance and the one that you could do right now.
The Pokemon icon dance.
I don't
Like
even know what that is.
the one that's like
Oh, okay.
that one or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have it. I know it, but I just had seen it so many times. I think that was like my default to like dance on people when I eliminate them. And
You murder them.
yeah, okay, yeah, there, yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah, we're talking real life, not video game. But no, yeah, that's the best dance in my opinion.
Okay. Where is this going? So, oh, you've been doing like a couple of different things recently. Actually,
Hmm.
not even recently. It's been for like over a year now. You've been doing your skits, your comedy. You seem to very much like messing around, making some like cringe content, but it's also
Uh-huh.
hilarious at the same time. Um, have we still been doing that kind of stuff? You taking a break? Like, where are you with
So
your content grind?
so it's interesting. I kind of, you know, there's always a part of me that will go through these little ruts where I'm like, okay, maybe I need to step back from Fortnite and try and have a broader realm of content. And I do that. Um, and it always somehow ends up getting driven back to Fortnite. I was doing the content, I was making videos, little skits, and I was doing a lot of IRL like interview type stuff. And I'd have some do well, some do better than others, some do not the greatest. But every video that popped off with my IRL that would just do really well had to do with Fortnite, like asking Fortnite questions. And I think that was like a big sign for me that was like, I just need to stay all in on Fortnite right now. And especially with the game state and growth, like, yeah, people will complain about the competitive state and stuff, but there's a lot of other aspects about the game that are huge right now, considering creative, zero build. I mean, just the casual fan base is massive. I mean, even the competitive fan base is still massive. Because you see here it every day, people saying they're quitting and then they're playing the next day anyway. So no one's really leave. Very few are actually leave in Fortnite. But I realized with like the comedy stuff, and that's kind of what my content's always been based around, was like I do host and stuff like that, but I try to add a twist and just not be like boring, but like be comedic. Like I've been doing a lot of short form videos that are in Fortnite now, but they're more like comedic satire skits or whatever. But yeah, the IRL stuff I haven't done recently, and that's just half because I moved and I've been settling, and I haven't really found the right spot where I'd want to go around and ask people questions. Luckily, right outside of Denver, I could drive up to Fort Collins, University of Colorado's up there. There's lots of like that. I've learned that the colleges are the best places to do it, to do like the IRL. But I also though like will still at like events and stuff like DreamHack and stuff. That's a great place for me to walk around, interview like actual Fortnite kids, and just make it fun. So
Yeah, you got to go out there, start asking people about the football team over at
yeah,
Boulder, because with Deion Sanders, they're like the talk of the town. So start asking them like,
yeah. Okay.
what would
Okay.
Deion Sanders' rating be in Fortnite or something like that,
Okay.
and people just look. You're combining Deion, who's like big in sports, and then Fortnite that you want. So
Yeah, most of the people would be like the start of the question, they'd be like, okay, and then by the end of the question, they'd be just like, what the hell? Like, what? What is this? What is this?
if Deion Sanders was a Fortnite skin, what
Yeah.
dance would he do after the game?
What would Deion Sanders' favorite Fortnite skin be?
Probably his
Chun
own.
Li. Oh, yeah, too.
Yeah, he's kind of like a very proud dude, so I feel like it would be his own. And you could actually
But
kind of play as Deion Sanders, not like specifically, but you could take his team and the jersey
oh,
number and like actually play as him
yeah, I
or like
forgot
him.
that was a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because isn't it once you just buy the, you have to, did you have to buy the team or do you just buy the football skin and then you can pick any team in Jersey?
Yeah, you just buy like the character model and then you get all the different teams and every number possible and all that
Gotcha.
kind of stuff. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's interesting. Um, I would like to see that come back, and I'm sure you will do it. Moving is a lot, so I can imagine that
Yeah. Oh, I'll definitely get back into it. So, just not yet.
yeah, you still been hosting. I see you post like Zone Wars and stuff, and now you're looking at
Yeah.
doing creative maps. Like, why make
Yeah.
that switch?
I've learned a lot because I have my Discord's been doing pretty well. We have like almost 13,000 members, which obviously isn't like, you know, top tier, but it's a decent amount of people and we fill games and I have a few other people hosting in there. And I learned, scrims were slowly like that was one thing that I really wanted to do. And nowadays, like it's tough to fill without putting money forward. And scrims being a little bit longer and people would want to play for a little bit more money, I kind of took a step back. Uh, but also like when I would try and host scrims, I just noticed they weren't filling as much just because I think there was that disconnect with competitive loot pools not being in the actual like regular pub mode since you can't do it like how it was back in the day with Arena. I think a lot of people are just like, oh, I'd rather not, like, because there's all these rules you have to have, like make sure you don't use this gun, this gun, this gun, just to make sure it's like light competitive. I think that burnt some people out. So I'll literally, like yesterday, I was hosting Zone Wars and we had like 70 people in, like filled like 2 lobbies, and then I was like, all right, we're switching to scrims, and 10 people joined up for scrims, and then I went back to Zone Wars and everybody came back. I just was like, okay, there's definitely a disconnect here. So I kind of just been focusing on Zone Wars, and then like you said, like creative's so big right now, and I mean Zone Wars is obviously a part of creative. I mean, you get on Fortnite in the discovery feed and you see people playing different Zone Wars maps. So they're still doing really well, but also like Epic is really changing the game with just in the gaming world in general with the creative, with just creative 2.0 and everything, and the UEFN. And first off, the money that people are able to make from this, I mean, there's people are able to go full time just making maps. And there's so many cool little maps out there to be discovered, and I have friends that also, like, that's what they are trying to do, is just make these fun unique maps that will get players to just explore. And like I had a buddy for me make me like my own solo Zone Wars map that's just like Bryson's solo Zone Wars. And it's just some of these people, like, to them it's just so easy to just get in there and they'll create whatever. And I mean, you saw it with that Only Up game, and
Yeah.
then those people made the Only Up Fortnite map, and it just absolutely took off. It just created a giant wave. I'm sure it still has thousands of players regularly playing. So it's like there's so much going on in the creative world, content wise, and I think like today, later today, I'm hosting a 3v3 zero build bracket in a creative map. Um, so like it's like uh there's so many different little, and like these are, and the things that I'm doing are still kind of tie in with competitive aspects in general. Like 3v3 zero build, it's gonna be a great warm up for people playing because isn't, I'm pretty sure the PlayStation Cup tonight's zero build.
Yeah, I believe
Um,
so. Well, I think it's
yeah,
both.
yeah. Is there two?
Yeah, I
Is that
think
what it
there's
is?
zero build and then also like standard build mode.
Gotcha. But like, and like we both know, zero build has also made a huge wave. I mean, look at like DreamHack and Gamers 8, like they all did switch to zero build. Like it's a huge game mode right now because it brought so many players. Because I love Fortnite, and nothing will ever beat just standard Fortnite BR competitive. But for people that didn't keep up with the building and in life, which is a lot of people, but they still enjoy just a good battle royale shooter game, the zero build has a much wider audience in that fact. So there's so many different aspects with creative to do things like warming up with zero build or warming up with regular type of Zone Wars. There's cool little like maps. Like I ran this like tournament once in this like Hunger Games style map that like was literally like 13 people. You have all this loot in the middle, and then you can run and get it, or you can just go out and look for other loot or whatever.
Is
And
that the survival games one that just got put out?
I it's it got put out like 2 months ago, so it might be a different. You might be thinking of a different one. I think there's a
Okay.
few. There's probably tons of them, honestly.
Yeah.
But people are making like horror, like haunted houses, and there's I was just recently sponsored by Ally Bank, and they did a massive campaign where they had their own creative map, and they were just getting tons of players to do it. They had this Alex Bowman, I think his name was, this popular NASCAR driver, take part in it or whatever. And like so many companies now are just utilizing creative. Like it's just such a moneymaker. It's grabbing people from all different worlds in the gaming realm, like not just Fortnite players. Like a lot of people are coming to Fortnite for creative to do fun stuff like that. So I've been doing a lot just with hosting wise on that. And honestly, I personally believe like creative's a big part of Fortnite's future. And it's something that like I'm trying to be on the forefront of I'm not like, I know you and me were talking about like developing beforehand. I'm not a developer, and definitely something I need to look into, like learn just even maybe some basic skills. But I do have friends around me that do it and that have been like wanting to help out. And that's the nice part about having like a good Discord or being like a Twitch partner is like I'm able to kind of like talk to them like, okay, you make the map, I do the advertising and like really get it out there and play it, and we can take like splits and stuff like that. And there's definitely a lot of teamwork that goes into it. I want to learn how to develop because like you were telling me before we started, it's just a good skill, especially with how big this is getting right now. But I need to find the time, and again with moving, it's been tough to do anything extra. So
Yeah, I was pretty much in the same kind of mindset of like people need to make trailers, someone needs to do voiceovers for stuff.
yeah.
And shout out to Immature Gamer because I was talking to him about this. He's like, "You idiot, people already do those things." He didn't call me an
Uh-huh.
idiot, but like that's how I kind of took it in my brain of like you're now trying to sell something that people are already really good at, trailers, voiceovers, all that
Uh-huh.
stuff. You're not doing anything unique versus if you create a map, like then you can actually create unique ideas. Or
Uh-huh.
if your Cypher PK and his clone, you just make Cypher PK's map and then
Yeah,
post
exactly.
it. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out because for me, I know that creative Fortnite, like it literally is just the beginning and it's huge already, but there will be a time where people come to play the game Fortnite, but they're playing things that don't even resemble Fortnite whatsoever. Like
Mhm.
there is already some maps, like there was a Flappy Bird map. Not
Mhm. Mhm.
exactly very polished, but at the same time, like that is a mobile game that now has like a in creative Fortnite style. And again, it wasn't the best, but it's better than nothing. And
It's a start. Yep.
yeah, and we'll start to see more and more of those roll. Like I've always been a big fan of playing Warcraft 3, and out of Warcraft 3 custom games is where Dota rose, and Dota is now one of the biggest games in the world. So there's 100% a chance that someone creates this wholly unique game within Fortnite Creative or UEFN. Granted, I still think the tools are a little far off before we see something like wildly new. I think it will take a little bit more time to create the developer tools, but ultimately I do think we will see like the next big genre of
Mhm.
games come out through creative Fortnite because I mean it went what like strategic games, then FPS games, and then we had MOBAs, and now we're in the battle royale genre. And there's going to be something next. Someone's going to create
Mhm.
something that's wild,
Mhm.
and we will be
And it could,
going there.
yeah, and like you said, it could literally be within Fortnite, like the next giant wave of whatever just pulls everybody in.
Yeah. Well, Only Up, I guess, is a great example. Like, who would have thought a game that you're literally just like climbing? Like, it's literally just a
Yeah, yeah,
parkour course in a game of Fortnite. Who would have thought that would be,
so popular.
100,000 people playing at once? And that was a thing. And
Mhm.
I mean, I guess even the like non-creative ideas, like not that I'm calling Booga's endgame not creative, but it was literally a game mode in Fortnite already, and then
Mhm.
Booga and Dignitas just recreated it, and that thing popped off. He got 1 million
Mhm.
plays in like the first few days, so there is unbelievable amount of like thirst for different kind of games where I think people are kind of bored of the battle royale genre in general, and especially from what I've been hearing about how the current competitive space is, people are trying to branch out and not
Yeah.
necessarily play comp all the time because
Yeah.
it just ain't worth it.
Yep.
Um,
Agreed. No, I agree.
so yeah, that's where I'm at. I was telling you, made my first like own 1v1, and I think it works. I'm probably gonna try and make it more aesthetically pleasing so it
Yeah.
doesn't just look like crap. Um,
Yeah.
because I don't know how many 1v1 build maps are there, hundreds, thousands maybe. This is more just like to get my feet wet to understand how
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
creative
a test.
works. Yeah,
It's a
and
test. I get it.
then I have ideas. Like I've been throwing this out there, right? I don't think it's currently possible, but one of my favorite maps in Warcraft 3 was like a Battle of Helm's Deep recreation within the game. So, you a Lord of the Rings guy?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh
so
yeah.
so you understand
Yeah.
Battle of
Yeah.
Helm's
Yeah.
Deep, one of the coolest battle scenes like in movie history, really.
Uh-huh.
So they recreated that with like the orc waves coming, and one half of the players play as the orcs, and then there's a bunch of like NPC orcs that just constantly flow in and attack, and then you have like the heroes or the good guys you play as like Legolas, Gimli, Aragorn, Theoden, and then you also have your own NPC like archers, elves, all these different things. And it's just a really cool style. So I've been pitching this idea to like a bunch of people. I've been told it's not currently able to be done based on like the limitations of creative, but one day someone is
One
gonna
day.
make that for me. Or I will.
That would be sweet. That would be dope.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy because we've already seen so many like COD maps remade just in creative, which is wild. So,
Yeah, that's also really weird with like all the IP, all the like big creative people are like, what the hell is going on? And I think for Epic, they're trying to figure it out because I don't think they truly know what the heck's going on or like how to fix it. And
Mhm.
we've seen like Twitch have these problems where DMCA was running rampant and they're trying to solve these things with massive
Yeah, I remember
DMCA
that.
issues, and
Yeah.
I still don't think they have a better idea of it. They kind of just like scare the community away from doing things that they
Uh-huh.
shouldn't. But YouTube's really the only platform that's created this mass system that is very easy to use and like seems to work. It's not
Mhm.
100%, but you know, if someone copyright strikes you, you can either appeal it or it's like, well, yeah, I did steal all their stuff and this is
Yeah,
not my
yeah, yeah,
video,
yeah.
so just take my money. And I think that's what we'll see
Uh-huh.
for Fortnite.
No, it makes sense with just like the copying of other shit in the world, but it's an interesting right, like you said, we're really at the forefront of it. Like it's just beginning. So seeing where this grows and in 2 months from now, we could see stuff that we would not even expect right now that like we'd have no idea would ever happen. So
Yeah, I think the big step that comes next is like the text search, the recommendation
hmm
algorithm that comes, and that will really allow, because text search then kind of creates its whole other system of
hmm
maps, because then you have like people like YouTube search, like how to kind of content is really
yeah,
search
exactly.
based versus, you know, there's algorithm content as well. And
Yep.
I think we'll see
Yep.
that within Fortnite too. So there's definitely enough people playing. The fact that like we had 2 million, I think, peak concurrent players at the start of the season, I would guess it's probably still up there around a million
hmm
at almost any given time, just from what the numbers show, and
hmm
it's wild.
No, it's crazy. I mean, Fortnite's not going anywhere, especially with just like the ad of creative and everything. But even the regular battle royale, like people are still grinding that. So
Yeah, there was. You could probably go on now, and it's over like a quarter million people just playing like
oh,
standard battle royale
I guarantee every time I get on, it's like 250 to 350K just on regular battle royale, and that's not even zero builds.
or ranked.
Yeah, it's literally it's wild.
Um, okay, let's switch gears. We kind of rambled about creative for a little bit.
Creative, yeah, yeah.
Um, you've still been writing for esports.gg. How's that been going?
Yes, that's been going good. I enjoy the writing side a lot within the video game realm. Because I enjoy doing, I've been kind of branching. I still write a lot about Fortnite. But I have branched a little bit away from the competitive side of writing about Fortnite, and a lot of my like interviews that I do will be with like creators, or like, and you still have those like random fluff pieces that get out here and there because like obviously nowadays with journalism, a lot of it is just getting people to your website. So like doing like with just talking about SEO type of stuff and like how to type of things, how to get this in Fortnite, how to do that. Always are articles that will pop off and bring people to the website. And those are easy little things to throw together. But then I love doing a lot of the interviews with creators, and I kind of branched out and was like was interviewing people outside of the Fortnite realm, but like some pretty popular gamers, and like it's definitely cool because I'm making some big connections. I was supposed to have this interview with this really popular YouTuber recently, but their PR agent reached out to me and I said I'd be free, and I never heard anything back. But I was excited about that one. But I've done some interviews with like people like Extra Emily, she's has nothing to do with Fortnite, but she's a huge Twitch star right now. So it's I've been doing a lot with the writing side, and I know I talked about it like over a year ago in your podcast, but like I do still think journalism writing really has a place within the gaming world. And I think one thing that's difficult with it with Fortnite is Fortnite has such a younger player base too. And kids just are not reading as much. Attention spans are a little bit lower, so YouTube videos really help for like how to's and stuff for that. But like the little bit older there's still a lot of millennials that are just constantly gaming and doing stuff, and a lot of them love reading different things. And I mean, even if it's just a simple like this game was just announced and is going to be released on this date, to interviewing a star Twitch streamer and talking about their past and what they've been doing. And there's so much there's so many stories to be written within the writing world. And that's what I do essentially, is like I try to write stories when I'm interviewing people and just talking about them. I'm not a Q&A type of writer where it's just like I show my question, then their answer. Like I try to format it as in like, a story piece. And that's the one aspect of journalism and writing that I really enjoy within the esports world, is interviews and talking with creators. And like I said, I'll still do regular pieces, maybe like a nice SEO piece talking about how to find something in a game, or a nice piece like just talking about the release of a game, or maybe even like a drama piece about like something going on within the esports world, like something big that's kind of bad or whatever. And like during like I wrote a lot of pieces about Activision during well, still during, but all that stuff that was going on. And but like I definitely like, my heart is where it's with like interviewing with other people and getting their stories out there and talking showing the world like what they're doing in a more like unique way than just people seeing their content. Because I think a lot of people see these creators pop up on their feed all the time and about what they're doing, whether it's in Fortnite or just like I've done some pretty big people that are just chatting streamers and stuff like that. And they'll just be like, "Oh, that's cool. They're making money doing stuff with video games and stuff." But I think there's a lot more to be told there, and about their story and where they come from and how they've impacted other people with their content. Um, and because they're entertainers, but they're also like one thing that's a difference between the streaming world and video games and Hollywood is people actually have first like people actually communicate with their community, whereas like in Hollywood, like stars aren't talking to their fans. So there's something about these massive Fortnite stars, massive Twitch stars, any other game that are able to actually have relationships and friendships with the community that's watching them. And there's something super special about that. And I think just getting those stories out there of how people have been impacted by their community and how they've impacted their community, I think is really important. So that's been something I've been really just like with my writing, has kind of striving to like tell those stories. And like I said, here in between, I'll do like those other pieces about like how to get this skin in Fortnite and stuff like that. But the interview pieces are like where it's at for me. Those are my top ones.
Nice, nice. So I have to ask, what, not your favorite, but like the most interesting interview that you've done, and like why was it interesting?
Um, Ooh, that's I really enjoyed I enjoyed interviewing Cypher PK because that was in person
Okay.
and that was cool. But there wasn't anything like crazy like that was like I was interested in. I know I did an interview with Mr. Savage once, and it was during that Red Bull tournament that happened back in like June or May.
Okay. Yeah, the Red Bull
In the
contested.
UK. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. And they asked me like, can you get on and interview him at like 10 a.m. at their time in UK? So I'm up at like 3 or 4 a.m. Just like barely alive. Just woke up trying to interview this kid. And that was and he was in a room that was really busy that they put him in. I don't know what the PR people were doing, but they put him in like a room with other people just walking around, so I could barely hear him half the time of what he was trying to tell me or whatever. It wasn't his fault. But that was a that interview just was like I was just like too dead to understand what was going on, and I was like, what the hell? Um, I haven't had like any interviews that I've just been doing the interview, and I was just like uh thrown off during. But I would definitely say my favorite interview I've ever done was with Cypher BK, and I think that's simply just because, like, first off, I've looked up the Cypher BK since the beginning of my being a creator myself. But also just sitting in front of him was like, whoa, this is an actual like pretty famous human being, in at least in the video games streaming world, and I'm sitting in a chair talking to him right now in person.
Yeah, I think the in-person interviews, like as much as I love doing this podcast and it's so much easier to do it virtually, there's
Yeah.
nothing like just having someone sit across from you because then you know they're not messing around. Like for all you know,
Hmm.
I could be sitting here watching YouTube videos and like,
Yeah, exactly.
yep, uh-huh, yeah, all right, keep talking. And like I've definitely had that happen where I've done like interviews or had meetings with people, and especially Fortnite kids, like you just hear they're literally cranking in creative while you're trying to have a conversation with them, and then you just hear like the keyboard clicks in the background the entire time. It's like, bro, I am trying to give you money. You should be understanding, like,
Uh-huh.
just sit here and listen for 20 minutes. I'm not even asking for like an hour, just 20 minutes of your time. But yeah, that's cool. I interviewed Cypher a long time ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. Um,
Ooh.
back when I was doing like writing, and yeah, it was really interesting. He was definitely big at the time, but like not as big. He was probably like the third or fourth fiddle to like the courage and the ninja and the
Yeah.
lupo.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, he's now become kind of his own unbelievably massive human being with
Hmm.
so much going, like the studio and literally,
Physically too. He's
yeah.
ripped now.
Oh, true. Good looking dude.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, before we go on blabbering about how hot Cypher PK is,
Could be the theme of the show today. I mean,
yeah, dude, do you see that one pic? No, I'm just kidding. It's cool. I appreciate that you appreciate the journalism aspect of it, because a lot of times I feel like it gets lost, and genuinely I don't feel like the audience is old enough to really give a shit
mm,
yet. But as time goes on, as people get older, and like I like to read stuff, like I don't always want to watch a YouTube video about something.
exactly.
And especially if it's like a good interesting piece about, hey, here's this creator that's doing something unique and why I should give a shit. It's like, okay, then yeah, I'll listen to that or read that
Hmm.
and enjoy that little piece about their life, their goals, what they're doing. And the news piece, I don't know that esports will ever be like a written news piece. Honestly, I feel like traditional sports is going away from really having success as like written news anymore, just because the video content is so powerful nowadays and people have gotten so good at editing videos that that's kind of changing. But at the same time, I feel like there is value in like
There
the
is.
writing.
And it's funny because you say the news piece, and it almost differs by game. Like it matters the game because there's some games that like just pop off with news pieces, and some games like I Fortnite does not do as well in my opinion with news pieces, but like Dota 2 does really well with news pieces. And I think it's just I guess maybe it's just the player bases um are just different, and some people have more people that enjoy reading, and some people don't. I mean, I love reading. I read and write every day, whether it's articles. I work on my own books that I'm trying to get published. And I read a lot of like fiction too. So I mean, I literally have a giant bookshelf, not giant, but a bookshelf behind me. You can see it.
What's your book about?
I write a lot within the suspense horror realm. I'm a big grew up as a big Stephen King fan, so a lot of my writing's kind of modeled after that. But the one I'm working on now follows two dudes. Kind of got the since I've been out here backpacking, kind of got that realm. Two guys backpacking in the wilderness, um, while being stalked by a few feral people living in the woods, and they get lost. Obviously, is a big thing. So they're trying to find their way back.
Hmm.
So
Interesting. I knew you liked to, because I think the last time we talked, you were writing a play or
or
something.
screenplay.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I do a lot of writing with that, and screenplay world is much harder to get something made from your work, because that's getting a whole movie made, whereas like getting a book published is still really hard, but nowhere as hard as getting a movie made. And I love literature and I love writing, and one thing that I've been like critiqued on with my screenplays was that I'm too descriptive, and you can't really be too descriptive in a book. Like that's what it's all about. So like I really started getting into the book writing aspect of it, and I love doing it. So I'm hoping one day to eventually like that will be what I'm mainly doing is writing and uh being like an author. So
all you need is one. It's like
I know.
the creative Fortnite maps we just talked about. You get one that catches
Yep.
fire, and then you can sell some, even if they're not that great, like some dog shit books afterwards because you wrote one good one. Not saying that you would, but
Yeah,
like,
I'm gonna make prestigious books every one I release. Okay, so don't worry about that. You just
uh,
I gotta find that right editor and that right agent to wanna represent you, and it just takes a while. So yeah, that's another journey I'm on, kind of doing on the side when I can, is just working on that. Get a lot of inspiration from being out here in like the mountains, help out a lot. So
yeah, well, it sounds like that's pretty much you just went on a hike like last week or something, and you're like,
yeah,
all right, so like, let's imagine that we're getting chased or stalked by some
yeah,
feral
exactly.
people. How would this happen? Yeah, that's cool, man. I appreciate that, and it's such a lost art. Like, I don't write really much anymore besides just scripts for myself, and even still, I write them in a way that's not grammatically correct or even
Yeah,
really like able to be read for somebody else besides myself.
yeah.
Um,
As
which
long as you can understand it, I mean that's what's important.
yeah, but I mean I do miss the journalism aspect. It's
Yeah,
just for the time investment, it never seemed worth the
I
monetary
get that.
returns for me.
I get that. I get that.
Um, and I didn't love it as much as it sounds like you love writing. So
I'm a big writer in general, and I'm good at like hammering out things pretty fast too. Like I'm a pretty fast writer, so I could be pretty efficient when it comes to like quick pieces that I need to get out. Uh, so that's always been something and that's been something I've been good at since I was a kid. Like I was known for like we'd have to do a huge paper in class, and I'd be done in like 45 minutes at night, and then everybody else would be like, I worked till 4 a.m. trying to get this paper done. I'm like, oh. I was also really good at bullshitting all my papers too, to where like I would never actually like. And I don't do this now as an adult in the professional world, but as like a high schooler, like I'd be like, I'm not reading that book. I'll just look up a quick synopsis and make a 10-page paper on it, and always get a B or an A. Teacher would never know.
hey, you're just gaming the system. As long as it works, it
Exactly.
doesn't really matter.
Exactly. I'm still writing that paper, so
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't really matter as long as someone that reads it cares. And who knows? I mean, the funny thing is now that like I'm an adult, I've I know teachers, and it's like, oh my god, is this what teachers were doing back when I was in school? Like, were you getting hammered on a Thursday
Yeah,
night and
yeah,
then coming
exactly.
in
Yeah.
super hungover on a Friday and just like, I don't care what any of these kids do today?
Well, you think about it too, with like the random times a teacher just like puts a movie on for the day, and I'm like, that makes so much sense now. Like,
Yeah. Oh man. All right. A little back to Fortnite though. So, do you have any kind of plans for the future? You said you've been shifting more towards creative. Is there anything that you're working on right now, or any plans that you're working towards?
yeah. So I have a few different, like I talked about with my YouTube, which I kind of, so YouTube has been one of those journeys, where it's been like trying different multiple things out, and I decided I went from gaming to IRL to back to gaming, and then I created a separate gaming account. But I had slowed down on the IRL and was doing so much more with gaming that I'm like, what am I doing? Like, my regular YouTube still does well with gaming stuff, so I went back to there, fully switched back to just my main YouTube, putting Fortnite content on there, and I've been putting shorts and stuff, and I'm getting back into the long form content. My shorts do really well, but I'm back in long form, like making like videos on different maps and stuff. Like I just released a video, and it didn't do great, but it's also like the big. It was like my first long form back in a while about I did this soccer tournament in Fortnite. It was like a map that was specifically for soccer. And you're just running around hitting a ball with a pickaxe. It
Hmm.
was cool. It was cool. I got reached out by this guy that made it, and he's like, "I'll give you $100 for a prize pool if you can host a tournament." I'm like, "Perfect." And that's the big thing is a lot of these creators, it kind of comes to me as like having a bigger Discord. As people be like, "I'll give you money to run like a little tournament." I'm like, "Perfect. I'll make content out of this, make a video. People watching me streaming, wanting to play or whatever. It works both ways. It helps out." And so I'm kind of like trying to get my YouTube to really center around that side of Fortnite. Like I said, I'm hosting a 3v3 today, but just been back in that grind, and it goes great with my Twitch too, because I'm at I'm at like 23K followers on Twitch, about a little bit over 100 CCV. I think I average like 110 to 120. And I'll host these little tournaments, whether it's just like, I'll host like a 40-man zone wars. I'll host some stuff sometimes where it's like 40-man zone wars, the winner after 5 rounds gets $1. Like, it's nothing crazy, and people still love it and play. And then here and there, I'll have people want to put money forward and be like, "Hey, I have this map. Let's do this." Like I said today, the 3v3. It wasn't me who made the map. Somebody's putting money up for a prize pool to see it played. I know I still do. I don't host as many scrims, but I still host within the ladder space. That still gets people. Um, I'll host a ladder. My last ladder during the qualifiers, I had 300 to 400 people playing. I have a company called Community Gaming. They're really cool. They host tournaments within the esports realm. And I'm able to get them a lot of signups on their website. Basically, they'll give me the money each month, and then I'll host a tournament, and they will basically they have a website where you sign up on. It's like a bracket type thing, and battle royale, and they do everything on there. And I'll just get people to sign up, like be required, like if you win and you aren't signed up, you will not go to finals, or if you're in finals and you didn't sign up, you will not get money. Kind of like crack down on that, and so everybody signs up. So they've been putting a lot forward. So that gives me like 2 to 3 weeks a month where I'm able to host like a big ladder series, and that still pulls in a lot of people. I mean, and that's more on the competitive side of things. But that still pulls in a lot of people, and I'll get some like smaller pros even coming in and playing. I mean, I've had days where the ones where like Somerset will come in and play. Like we'll get some bigger names in there here and there. It just really matters the prize pool. Like I've had times where let's say they give me 500 for a month, and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to run this every week. So let's do one big $500 series, like 3 qualifiers, one semi, and then one finals. And I'll get some bigger names that want to play because that's a big prize pool. And then sometimes I'll be like, let's split it. Let's split it into like 4 weeks and do like $125 prize pool each week, and get that to pop off. And they do just as well. And I think that's a big thing for me as a creator. And I'm not bashing on any creators that do this because I totally love it. I love watching it. It's fun. It's cool entertainment. A lot of people, when they get these prize pools, they will make it more of like a invite only creator type series or pro type series. And I think one big aspect of community for me is I want my community to be involved. I don't want it to just be like me inviting creators in my community watching. So that's been a big thing for me over the last 2 years, really, of just hosting. Is like I want my stuff to be open to everybody, regardless how big the prize pool is. And I think that's a lot of times why I'll host these smaller prize pools, because I'll get like I'll be able to do it every week, and I'll be able to get all these kids that they're striving to make it within the Fortnite world. Like they want to be a competitive pro player, but they're not there yet. And my tournaments are what help them. And you know what? I'd like to think I've had 4 people that's played my tournaments over the last 2 years make it to grands
Okay.
in FNCS. Actually, I think 2 of them, like, I don't remember if they won or if they got within like the top 5 once, but I've had I'd like to think that there's still some even though my like tournaments they're not like Manu where it's like really meant to be competitive. Like it's just more for fun to give people a good time to practice and stuff. But I like to think that it's still making helping some of these Fortnite players move up in the world a little bit. So
Yeah, 100%. I mean, any practice is better practice than no practice
exactly,
at
yeah, yeah,
some
yeah.
point. And I'm sure even with the bigger tournaments, and you may think that just because there's not like top players in there, it's not as helpful. But genuinely, for most of those players, practicing in those rounds, I would imagine is super helpful for like opens formats of
Mm-hmm.
cups that are in
Mm-hmm.
game, because you have a wide variety of players. You don't know who you're going to run into, and you kind of just have to learn how to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to talk, like, you said you had almost 13,000 people in a Discord.
Yes.
How long have you been growing that? Like, how do you keep that active? Because that is a lot of people to be in a Discord.
Yeah. So it's funny. So I started the Discord out as just like a community Discord when I first started streaming. Like, I think it wasn't right when I started streaming. It was probably over like COVID. I decided to create a Discord because like I went from like 5 average viewers to like 20 average viewers and had a little bit more of a community, and was like, oh, let's keep everybody like in a server to talk. And then slowly it was like, hey, I kind of want to host like I think the first thing I did is like I hosted a fashion show. No, 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 no. Way back in the day, during COVID, a buddy of mine he was a pitcher for the Padres. Now he's a pitcher for the Twins. Chris Paddock. It was during when there was no baseball, no sports or anything. He was streaming, and we would host Friday night customs together. And the big add to it was like you'd go into squad fills, but you'd go in by yourself, and you would get paired up with me or Chris. Like you had no idea if you're going to be on the same team with us. So that was, and especially for Chris being a Major League Baseball player, like tons of kids were coming to that and wanting to be like, oh, I want to be on his team or whatever. And it was kind of cool because that was when I started to have like some people get on my team and they're like, oh, he's Bryson. I'm like, oh, okay, okay, okay. Um, but I was hosting a lot of those, and that's when I kind of started to um use the Discord because I was like, well, I need an easier way to, we'd have some kids like stream sniping, and I'm banning them from my stream, so I need but they're still getting code, so I need to figure out a way to do this more efficiently. So we're like, let's start using Discord and stuff like that. So it kind of evolved from there. Then I remember I had a company reach out, and they're like, hey, we'd love to put some money forward each week for you guys. And so I was working with them for a little bit, and I hosted like a fashion show once, and then I went into just like hosting scrims. And at first, like it was just like 25 to 30 people per scrim. Like it wasn't like a crazy amount. and it was still fun. Like it was still, and people still had a good time because like you're making money each win, and I enjoyed it. And at first I wasn't even doing zone rules. It was just like a game. You just hop in. And then I kind of learned of the scrim world. I hadn't really done much with scrims. And I learned more about zone rules. I'm like, oh, like let's try and do this, make the games kind of stacked end games. And even with 30, 40 people in it, and then you can't fight until fifth circle. This is the old fifth circle, not fifth circle now. Still be like a good game, and kind of let that like grow from there. And slowly the scrim started to take off, and then I kind of took a break when I was like getting able to host in like some bigger discords. And there's a lot of drama in the scrim hosting scene. Like a lot of the other servers take it very like seriously and look at every other server as like a threat. And I don't do that. I work with other servers all the time. Like I'm homies with like Manu, and like if I have some kids acting up in my server, I'll just message him and he'll be like, all right, banned in mine, and then he'll do the same for me and like stuff like that. But there's other servers that they look, and I'm not going to name names, but they look at like they look at me hosting a server as a threat, and I might have been like solid with everybody in that server, and all of a sudden now I'm like banned from their like server and stuff, and I'm like, huh, you guys are taking this a little bit too like to heart right here. Like I'm just here to have a good time. And I'm also very big about like advertising, like being able to a lot of servers never that I struggled with was I'd host and I'd put money up to host, but I was never able to actually like promote, even if it was just like, hey, I'm also streaming these on Twitch if you guys want to join up. And I'm a big believer in like being able to if somebody's putting their time in to like host, to let them at least just share their Twitch here and there. And that was kind of what, like when I was doing my normal stuff, I'm like, well, I'm growing also more when I'm hosting my own, because dude, I've been in servers before where I've seen them get mad at somebody they're hosting, and then their Discord status that they have has their Twitch in it, and they'll be like, you need to take that out, that's self promo. And I'm like, okay, they're not even like taking up like space in the channel, like posting about it. And I'm like, it's far beyond me. I never understood it. And so I kind of went back into hosting, and for a while I was mainly just hosting ladders. I was doing with one company they gave me $100 a week, and it was POQ. I don't know if you remember them. They had a few pretty big tournaments, yeah, and they left the esports world about almost a year ago. It was last December. They left it, and now they still do stuff with gaming, I'm pretty sure, but I have not followed them. But they don't do any tournaments anymore, and they're kind of like the community gaming that I work with now, where they were like had like a website where you sign up on and stuff. And POQ was doing a lot. Like they were fully integrated with Unite. So it was super easy to run tournaments through them or whatever. It was like if you signed up for a tournament, you automatically signed up through, like if you signed up in my cord through Unite, it automatically signed you up at the POQ website. So it wasn't like I didn't have to share multiple links around, like, hey, make sure you're verified with Unite, but also go to this link and share. Fine, like they had it together. It was cool. But obviously esports is tough industry at the same time. But they're giving me like 100 a week, and I would just host like ladder series. And that was mainly what I was doing, and that grew things a lot. And here and there, we would do like a big series, like $1,000 series. And then after that, I kind of took a break from hosting in there again, and then slowly came back over the last like 6 months and started doing scrims, zone wars. It'll be like I know this is my thing, is like I hop on, open up my Discord, turn on Twitch, go live. I know I'm going to be able to fill zone wars, and that's great. Zone wars are great practice. People love them. It's fun. And then maybe, throughout the day, I'm starting to see the numbers better, I'll switch to scrims, or maybe I'll announce like, hey, this Saturday we are doing specific community scrims prize. And then I've even brought in a buddy of mine, Verhona, who's he also hosts and stuff. And he joined the court, and me and him kind of teamed up and kind of made it like our names as the court or whatever. And he's been hosting and he streams. I'm a big like 4 hour streamer a day. Like I stream like 4 hours. He's somebody that like streams like all day. So like when I'm not hosting, he's able to like host all day. So we kind of got the Discord to a point now to where it's constantly hosting games. So now the next step is just to get that bad boy partnered. Uh, so that's my goal. But yeah, I've been doing that for a while since 2020 probably. But it would grow in spurts because I'd take breaks from using it and doing stuff. And then I'd go into doing it. And now it's just kind of full. Like that's what my stream is hosting stuff in my Discord. So yeah.
Yeah, are the breaks because you get burnt out? Because I imagine hosting scrims at times sucks because kids are pains in the ass. Like, do you get burnt out from doing it, and that's why you just take a break, or like what
Um,
happens with all that?
there's definitely times where you get burnt out. And even now, like I haven't really been taking any breaks from it, but I'll have times where I'm like, okay, I need 2 days off. Luckily, now that I'm out here and like I love doing mountain shit. And I'm also like trying to create like my own like travel adventure channel. I'll just if I need a day or two off, I'm like, you know what? I'm taking my dog. We're going to the mountains. We're gonna disconnect from everything. And then I'll come back, fresh mindset, and be like, all right, let's run it. But back in the day, it was kind of I was also playing more Fortnite. I was streaming longer hours, and so I think what made it easier for me not to get burnt out now is streaming less hours. Where I'm streaming, 4 hours a day. I can host custom scrims in those 4 hours and feel fine. Whereas I'm streaming 10 hours a day. I'm not going to host Zone Wars for 10 hours. I would lose my mind.
Yeah.
So at that time I would like host a little bit and then I'd go like play the game and then play tournaments, and it kind of made me get away from hosting in general. And those were the days though when like DreamHack would release like a tournament and it was like you could play East and West and there was 2 qualifiers on each. So you're spending 10 hours that day. I would just stream, order food, and just play Fortnite all day. And I mean, those were great times. I was really unhealthy though, but because I was just inside all day.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
that was
I've
like
lost.
peak COVID when that
It
was
was,
happening,
yeah.
so you couldn't
Uh-huh.
really do anything anyway.
So I've gone through a little bit of a heavy transition in my life of weight loss and like getting healthy and being in good shape now. But at that time, I would just spend all day, and there was no way I would be able to host. And I think I got caught up in just doing other stuff on stream that I kind of stopped hosting. There's even a time though my Discord built a little bit. I remember I was doing Among Us, um, and I was hosting Among Us games, and I'd get a lot of people to join up on that. And I do that through my Discord too. So it wasn't even just Fortnite all the time. Like I was doing other stuff. Fall Guys, I'd get people to join in. But obviously Fortnite is my number one, and it's where all my events come from.
Nice, nice. And so, just a long journey to get here is what it
Yeah,
sounds
it's
like,
been a
of
while. It's been a
steady
while, yeah.
building and constantly putting in the effort, putting
And
money,
it's
and
still
finding
exactly.
partners to work with.
And there's still so much to be done. So I'm excited for the future, especially like we said with creative and everything. So
Nice, nice. We've surprisingly got to about an hour without me even realizing it. So,
love it.
I'm gonna wrap it up here. Thank you, Bryson. Do you have anything going on that people should look out for? I know you mentioned the tournament today. People won't be able to hear that today. So,
Yeah.
anything next week?
I'm gonna announce next week a pretty big tournament that's gonna be going on. Two of them that'll be going on the end of September, the last 2 weeks. So if you're listening, just check out my Twitter or my Discord. That's where you'll be able to see the announcement. It's gonna be good, so I'm excited.
Cool. And what are your Twitter and Discord for people to find?
UnamusedBryson for Twitter, or all socials. Discord is discord.gg/scrim. Not scrims, not plural, but scrim. SCRIM.
Damn, that's a good name to have.
It's nice. It's solid. You can just type in like Fortnite scrims on Google, and we're one of the ones that pop up pretty early. So
Cool. Well, appreciate you coming on, bro. I appreciate anybody listening. If you could, definitely give us a review on your podcasting platform. It helps me out a lot to get this thing promoted. So thank you. If you have any complaints, comments, anything, DM me on Twitter at somebody's gun. And thank you again, Bryson.
yeah, thank you.
All right. Peace, y'all.